Sonu, what are you doing?
She's having an affair with someone else. Characterless.
Sonu, don't say that. I'm innocent. Just listen to me once.
There's nothing left here. Get out of this house right now!
Son, this would be a grave sin. If I'm being truthful, the truth will surely come out one day. Daughter, my
husband threw me out of the house, calling my pregnant wife characterless. 4 years later, fate took a turn that brought tears to everyone's eyes. Hello, friends. This story is set in Mumbai, the city of dreams, tall buildings, wide roads, ocean waves, and the hopes of millions. But amidst these glittering lights, there are some homes that silently bear stories of pain, humiliation, and broken relationships. Today, I'm going to tell you one such heart-wrenching story. It's the story of Sonu and Nisha, a couple whose life began with love, but a misunderstanding shattered everything. And then, 4 years later, fate took a turn that brought tears to everyone's eyes. They lived in a simple house in a Mumbai suburb. Sonu lived in the same house with his wife, Nisha, and his parents. Sonu worked in a private company. He was hardworking, but a bit short-tempered and easily influenced by others. For Nisha was a very calm, cultured, and understanding girl. After marriage, she had wholeheartedly made the house her own, waking up first thing in the morning, making tea for everyone, serving her father-in-law, and then preparing lunch for her husband was her daily routine. It had been 2 years since their marriage. The joy in the house increased further when the doctor announced that Nisha was going to be a mother. Congratulations. Everything is normal, the doctor said with a smile. Nisha's eyes welled with tears of joy. She called Sonu first. Sonu, you're going to be a mess. Nia, father. There was a moment of silence on the other side of the phone. Then Sonu happily said, "Really, I'll be back soon." That evening, the entire family was overjoyed. Sweets were distributed. Neighbors congratulated, and dreams of a new guest began to blossom. But as they say, every joy is always tainted by someone's evil eye. A man named Vikram, who lived in Sonu's neighborhood, was always trying to sow discord in other people's homes. He couldn't bear to see anyone happy. He had often seen Nisha go to the market where she would buy medicines for her ailing father. One day he said to Sonu, "Don't feel bad, brother. But I've seen your wife meeting a stranger many times." Sonu was shocked. "What are you saying?" Vikram said with full seriousness. "I'm telling you what I saw. Now it's up to you whether you believe it or not." That was the moment when the foundation of trust began to shake. Sonu didn't ask Nisha anything directly. He harbored suspicions. He became quiet. He started coming home late. He started getting angry over small things. Nisha understood everything, but she didn't know why. One night, she asked affectionately Sonu, what's the matter? You're not the same as before." Sonu averted his gaze. "Nothing. If I've made a mistake, just tell me. When the time comes, I'll tell you everything." Hearing this, Nisha's heart sank. Days passed. Nisha's pregnancy was in its 7th month. The doctor had advised her to rest, but she continued to do the housework so as not to cause any trouble. Meanwhile, Vikram kept hitting Sonu new lies every day. One day he showed a blurry picture on his mobile phone and said, "Look, this is that man." The truth was that Nisha was going to the hospital with her older brother, Begainirha. But the picture was staged to make it seem otherwise. Sonu's anger reached its peak. That evening when he returned home, Nisha smiled and offered him a glass of water. Sonu threw the glass. "Stop acting." The whole house was stunned. Nisha was terrified. "What happened?" Sonu shouted. "You've been lying to me. Whose child is in your womb?" Nisha's legs sank. "Sonu, what are you saying?" "I'm telling the truth." "You're characterless." Tears welled up in Nisha's eyes. "I've never even thought about anyone else but you." But Sonu's ears were clouded by anger. Sansur was also shocked. He tried to reason with Sonu. Don't make such a serious accusation without proof." But Sonu refused to listen. He took Nisha's small bag from the cupboard and threw it at the door. "From today on, there's no place for you in this house, Souls. Get out." Nisha tremblingly said, "At least think about my child, me child. This child is not mine." Hearing this, Nisha's heart broke. She wept, her hands folded, but no one's anger subsided. Finally, she wiped her tears, bowed her head before a picture of God, and slowly walked out of the house. Outside, it was raining heavily. The headlights of the cars passing by glinted in the water droplets. Nisha stood trembling on the sidewalk, her hands on her stomach, as if telling her, "Unborn child, now don't be afraid. I'm here. Just then, a white car pulled up in front of her. An elderly woman, about 60, stepped out of the car. A look of affection was evident on her face. She asked softly, "Daughter, where are you going alone at this time of night, in this condition?" Nisha tried to speak, but her throat choked. Only tears began to flow. The woman placed a hand on her head. "Don't cry. Get in the car first." Nisha hesitated for a moment, then, taking God's name, got in the car. The woman's name was Saraswati Devi. She ran a social service organization that helped destitute women and children. Upon reaching home, she gave Nisha dry clothes, a hot meal, and a room to rest. Nisha couldn't sleep the entire night. Every word Sonu said echoed in her ears. "This child is not mine," she cried bitterly. The next morning, Saraswati Devi asked lovingly, "Now tell me the truth, daughter. What exactly happened?" Nisha recounted the entire story, from her marriage to her being thrown out of the house. Saraswati Devi's eyes welled with tears. He said, "Daughter, whoever considered you guilty without even listening to you has done the greatest injustice. But remember, God is slow, not cruel." Nisha decided that day that she would no longer beg anyone. She would raise her child on her own. A few days later, Saraswati Devi gave her a small job in her organization's office. Initially, she handled files. Then, gradually, she learned to use the computer. Meanwhile, Sonu's house had also fallen silent. After Nisha's departure, the house no longer felt like home. The kitchen felt empty. The courtyard felt empty. But Sonu's pride remained unshaken. Vikram would come every day and say, "Brother, it's good that I'm free from such a woman." Oh, Sonu would nod his head every time, but a few months later, Nisha suddenly went into labor one night. Saraswati Devi immediately took her to the hospital. After several hours of pain, a beautiful son was born. The doctor smiled and said, "Congratulations. Both mother and child are healthy." Nisha hugged her son and tearfully said, "From today, you are my world." She named him Arav. Arav's arrival brought new hope to her life. She worked at the organization during the day and cared for her son in the evenings. Time slowly moved on. Meanwhile, Sonu's life had become completely entangled. The company he worked for faced a financial crisis, and many employees were fired, including Sonu. Now he had neither a job nor savings. Meanwhile, his father's health also began to deteriorate. He had no money for treatment. Vikram, the man who had destroyed his home, gradually began to distance himself from him. One day, Sonu asked for help, but Vikram flatly refused. Brother, I have a lot of expenses too. Sonu realized for the first time that the one who had poisoned his ears was the one who abandoned him first. 4 years had passed. Arav was now 4 years old. He was a very intelligent and well-mannered child. Every morning he would tell his mother, "Mummy, when I grow up, I will become a doctor so that no poor person has to die without treatment." Nisha would smile. Saraswati Devi also loved Arav like her own grandson. Meanwhile, the organization organized a major event for women. Many prominent industrialists, doctors, and officials from Mumbai were to attend. Nisha was given the responsibility of managing the event. She was nervous, but Saraswati Devi said, "I have complete confidence in you." On the day of the event, the entire hall erupted in applause. Nisha confidently took the stage, impressing everyone with her hard work. A renowned industrialist said from the stage, quote, "Nisha is our biggest inspiration today. She never gave up, even in difficult circumstances." The entire hall erupted in applause. Nisha's eyes were filled with tears, but this time they were tears of self-respect, not grief. Ojama. Meanwhile, Sonu took his ailing father to the government hospital that same day. He waited in line for hours, but he couldn't get treatment. He was extremely distressed. Suddenly, his eyes fell on a large banner outside the hospital. It read, "Saraswati Seva Trust Free Health Camps for the Poor." Below was a picture of the organization's chief coordinator. Sonu's hands trembled at the sight. It was none other than Nisha. His eyes widened. The woman he had thrown out of his house 4 years ago, calling her characterless, was now helping hundreds of poor people. Sonu was shocked. He immediately noted the address of the trust. Sonu couldn't sleep the entire night. The same picture he had seen on the banner outside the hospital kept flashing before his eyes. He couldn't believe that Nisha, the one he had insulted and thrown out of his house 4 years ago, had now become a respected woman helping hundreds of people. As soon as morning arrived, he arrived at Saraswati Seva Trust. His steps were trembling, his heart pounding. The employee at the reception asked, "Who do you want to meet?" Sonu replied softly, "I want to meet Nisha." The employee smiled and said, "Please wait a little. She's having a program." Sonu sat down on a chair. Then his eyes fell on several pictures on the wall. Somewhere Nisha was with orphans. Somewhere she was distributing blankets to the elderly. Somewhere she was training poor women to become self-reliant. Each picture pierced Sonu's heart. Just then the hall door opened. Nisha, dressed in a white sari, emerged brimming with confidence. She was accompanied by a cute 4-year-old boy. The child was laughing and holding her hand. Sonu's gaze seemed to stop. Nisha, too, looked at Sonu standing in front of her. Time seemed to freeze for a moment. 4-year-old memories flashed before their eyes. Sonu slowly approached her, his voice trembling. Nisha was quiet. She simply said, "How are you?" Sonu's eyes welled with tears. I made a big mistake, she said. Nisha didn't reply. Then the little boy asked Mummy, "Who is this? This uncle?" Nah. Sonu's gaze fixed on the child. Instantly, a strange glow appeared in his eyes. The child's face, his smile, his eyes, everything was exactly like his own. Sonu's lips trembled. "Is this him?" Nisha said quietly, "Yes, this is Arav, your son." Hearing this, Sonu sank to his knees. He covered his face with both hands. He burst into tears. "I was so blind. I rejected my own son before he was born. Arav couldn't understand anything. He looked at his mother. Nisha told her son, "Son, this is your father." Arav slowly approached Sonu. He innocently asked, "Where were you all these days?" This one question broke Sonu's heart. He had no answer. Just then Saraswati Devi came from behind. She looked at Sonu and said in a serious tone, "The day you threw this daughter out of the house without knowing the truth, you also lost the happiness of your family." Sonu, you cried. "Mother, please forgive me." Saraswati Devi said, "Apologize, not to me, but to the one you hurt the most, Maharuki." Sonu folded his hands and looked at Nisha. "Nisha, I broke your trust. I questioned your character. I threw you out of the house while you were pregnant. If you can, please forgive me." Nisha's eyes were filled with tears. "Sonu," she said, "perhaps no pain can break me as much as your words did. But if I had lived with hatred, I might never have been able to move on." Just then, a trust employee came in and said, "Madam, a man wants to meet you, so need you. His name is Vikram." Sonu was shocked. Shortly after Vikram entered, as soon as he saw Sonu, his face fell. Seeing him, Saraswati Devi asked, "Who are you?" Vikram said fearfully, "I come to admit my mistake." He told the truth in front of everyone. 4 years ago, I was the one who lied to Sonu. I lied about the photos. The man I told Nisha's boyfriend was her older brother. I was jealous of their happiness. The entire hall fell silent. Sonu's head hung in shame. Now he knew the whole truth. Vikram cried, "A home has been destroyed because of me. I will accept whatever punishment I receive." Saraswati Devi said, "The greatest punishment is a person's conscience." Vikram bowed his head and left. A few days later, Sonu brought his ailing mother and father to the trust and introduced them to Nisha. Both elders wept. The mother-in-law held Nisha's hand. "Daughter, forgive us. We should have supported you that day." Nisha bowed and touched her feet. "You are my elder. I hold no grudge against you." Gradually, the distance between their relationships began to diminish. But Nisha imposed a condition. "If we live together again, the foundation of our relationship will be trust. We will never trust anyone else." Sonu immediately said, "I promise." A few months later, Sonu also began working at the trust. He helped poor children with their education, cared for the elderly, and counseled families where suspicion was tearing them apart. Now he told everyone the same thing: relationships are built on trust, but suspicion breaks them. One day, a family honor ceremony was held at the trust. Saraswati Devi called Nisha and Sonu to the stage. She said, quote, "To err is human nature, but to admit one's mistake and change oneself is the greatest victory." The entire hall erupted in applause. Arav ran to stand between his parents. The three of them held each other's hands. In that moment, it felt as if 4 years of darkness had finally ended. Nisha looked up at the sky. Tears welled up in her eyes, but this time they were tears of joy. She felt as if God was speaking. Truth triumphs late, but it does prevail. Friends, this story teaches us that we shouldn't accuse anyone without knowing the truth. Trust is the strongest foundation of any relationship, and a moment's doubt can tear an entire family apart. Now, please tell us in the comments how you liked this story. What would you have done if you were in Sonu's place? If you liked the video, please like, comment, share with your friends. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more such heartwarming stories. Jai Hind, friends.